Sunday.
Yes. Good afternoon. Another pleasant Sunday afternoon, except for where I'm coming from. The rain out for kill me.
No, man, I know you alone. I know you alone.
By the time I reach the car, I soak right through. Welcome to Sunday Scoops. It's another Sunday, and today we're finishing up our 60-year legacy in reggae music, and we're going to be joined, as Richie said, use a Richie word, erstwhile Mikie Bennett.
Erstwhile Mikie Bennett, and I think Mikie may have a special guest in the wings.
And we don't know who that special guest is.
So we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it just like that. Mm-hmm. But you know, as we close out our own contribution to the celebration of Jamaica 60, I think it's only fitting that we pay some regards, give some respect to the music that we have produced. There's been all sorts of criticism of the music coming out of Jamaica, especially over the last 5-10 years. But, we have to take a little of the bitter with the sweet. And I guess a large part of that comes down to just how perceptions, you got?
Yes, definitely.
Music is music. And, one other thing about our music is that it performs the task of telling our story.
And sometimes, too, Richard, we have to just take a step back and see the music as art, not necessarily what we consume. Of course, we consume art, but, see it in the light of artistry. But then you'll appreciate the music for what it is.
It is part of us penning our story. And it's either we do it or we allow others to come in and do it. And then they're going to tell the story from their own perspective.
Yes.
And one thing we have to do is that we need to own everything that we produce.
That is true. The good and the bad and the ugly.
There you go. I think you're going to recap.
Just one song. We finished off with that song, and we're going to start the program with that song. And it's a song that is an ode to Jamaica as we know it. And as you said, that, a lot of the people in influence were working together to try to get this song banned. And it's a junior gang, Damian Marley. Welcome to Jam. What's happening?
God, this was some of the most potent lyrics to have been put to music, from my own perspective, looking at music over the last, 60, 70 years. If we agree that the lyrics of the songs tell a story, Junior Gang wasn't holding back nothing. He was mixing every color on the palette when he wrote this song. And we draw a lot of our cultural influences from North American television, to some extent. The music itself too is influenced by, certainly in the early days, what we were getting, the imagery coming out of North America. And the gun culture that has become, whether we like it, yes or no, the fact is we have a gun culture in Jamaica. For a place that don't make gun, we murder 1,300 people a year, certainly over the last 20 years. And if we are not prepared to talk about that and to own it, there's no way we're going to fix it. And, it's one of the reasons why, for me, this is one of the most potent songs to have come out of Jamaica, certainly in the last 60 years.
You know what I love about this segment? We're going to touch from 2006 to present day. So we're basically squeezing 15 years. And some points we had 2 songs, some points we only have 1 song. Not that, there wasn't anything of note. But what you will find in this section is how the paradox of the music, where we have some conscious lyrics, as we'd call it, and then you have music driven purely for entertainment. And that's one of the things that has changed. Richie, when you and I were growing up and going to parties, DJs would get an album and would sit down and listen to the whole album, and they would choose a song to say, this is a good party song. Because me and you can listen to the whole album, but most of those songs are not going to be songs that we party to. Right. Now, what has changed, especially since the 90s, is that the producers and the artists kind of took away that responsibility from the DJ by just creating songs you party to. And so the artistic creativity that we're used to just kind of lost, to a certain extent, lost that. But it's still art. Whatever is created is still art.
I think we have a little disagreement in terms of that. The reality is that the artist is always out there creating, but there's a lot more that pertains to the music, especially from a business standpoint, than just that creativity. And so the producer, they want to make sure say, that whatever them investment, them can recoup it. And one of the best way, if the music has an appeal, you know, a mass appeal, it's better for them. So you can understand them trying to find that sound, that phraseology. You know, we see it certainly in the last 10 years where a lot of our music have catchphrases that are a big part of, you know, the culture that now emanates.
Yeah, the words in the street, but I mean, we're saying the same thing, but saying it differently.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, no, that one time artists just sit down. I mean, you'd have some singles, but they would put together an album. The DJ, and I'm talking from the perspective of a DJ, would peruse, listen to that album, and say, you know, this would make a good party song. As you rightly said, the producers and the artists know, but them start making songs for people to party to make money.
Yeah.
And that's basically where the crux of the matter is. There's one song, though, that stood out in 2006. Well, we're going to play two songs for 2006. The first one, and this is a song which is an ode to women. It can be a mother, can be a wife, can be a girlfriend, sweetheart. And this song was blazing up the airwaves in 2006. Tarrus Riley, She's Royal.
Yeah, where they live off Belgrade.
You need green card for go
But anyway, come on.
Green card for go.
But yeah, you need a green card. When you reach a Manningsville Road, the man must stop you and say, I want to see a passport. But seriously, you know, I remember when a couple of other songs he did, and he would, me and a neighbor that him and Buju and him was very good friends. And the way he put his music together, it was just amazing. Again, the kind of creativity that these guys have. But the song itself, God, Driver Don't Stop at All. Your impression, your interpretation.
Well, he's just basically talking about moving weed through the system. Because, of course, Arizona is a strain of marijuana.
Marijuana.
Yes. But it's also talking about the streets of New York. Carry this Arizona down to Alabama.
Yeah, man.
Yes. And make sure so you follow the speed limit. Don't stop.
You don't want them to stop you. Yeah,
and make sure so you don't smoke either, don't drink anything.
So weed, man.
And he also talks about the business in there because he said, listen, I want you to make some money because my girl likes to wear Victoria's Secret. Yeah.
Drawers.
But let's not just focus on Driver. There was another song that was before that, and every single Mother's Day, birthday party, anything at all to do with moms celebrating their birthday or your significant other, this song celebrated women. Tarrus Riley's She's Royal. Trust me, it does elevate the Jamaican woman, the black woman, the woman entirely. And, you know, women have played such a very important part in our lives that most of us don't really want to give credence to. But without them, we wouldn't be here. I mean, without the man, we wouldn't be here either. But they're the ones who brought us. Most of the times, our earliest education came from our mothers and our grandmothers. And African society has always been matriarchal, you know, so, tune back. Yeah,
but beyond that, though, the tune is about, it's, as you say, it's a salute to women. It became an anthem, still is. Still draw the same kind of response from, regardless of where you are, you play the song. The audience is going to respond in the same way, particularly. And remember, in the music business, women are a massive part of the buyers.
Brethren, right? I mean, tell you.
We seem to forget that. You know, Tarrus Riley, in terms of his approach and, you know,
and his roots
and his own roots, it speaks to that. Again, is Jimmy Riley was his old man, right?
Yes.
So a continuation of that family music legacy. Something that, again, we don't talk about in terms of just how Jamaica has, the music has grown from generation to generation in Jamaica. We tend to want to focus on the negatives, you know, whatever few negatives there are, we amplify them as if to say all the music that we're creating was trash. Again, remember, we're going to be joined by Mikie Bennett in a little bit, as he indicated, just running a little behind schedule. But having said that,
we're going to run 3 more songs.
Run a couple more songs, absolutely.
Yeah, so the first one, and if you notice, apart from just playing the songs, so I'm going to talk about the songs first. First one, Etana, Wrong Address. This is 2007.
No, that was a massive piece of music. Eh?
Queen Africa. She touched on a subject that is rarely discussed in polite conversations, and it is incest.
You said rarely discussed.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And it's the whole topic of incest, child molestation, and not just from your neighbor, but from your immediate, whether it's a stepfather or whatever it is. And then Loot and Fire, Save the Juvenile. And I figured the reason why is because, again, realize that children are our future and we can't ignore that. So Etana's Wrong Address, and then followed by the Queen Africa and Loot and Fire. Yep. Yes, that was Loot and Fire with Save the Juvenile. It talks about the role of parents. But as we were discussing Richie, because we featured this Queen Africa song a lot of times, and how rampant child molestation and incest is, not just in Jamaica, but across the planet.
And I really want to just, I want to go back a little bit because, by the way, web name Mikie Bennett is trying to get come in. He said he can't find the link, but we're gonna, if you're listening, Mikie, we're gonna just email that back to you in a minute. But to your point, Garth, especially the first 2 songs, Wrong Address, which typifies the kind of discrimination that faced a lot of Jamaicans once you come from a certain address. If you're below Crossroads,
Kingston
dog
11.
your supper. Yes. Yep. Anyway, they're below Crossroads, dog your supper. You can't get a job, or you're being basically
or if you do get a job, you are paid the lowest wage.
But not only, well, you're subject to the kind of scrutiny that is just almost as if you're in a prison.
One of the lines that hit me most out of the song when she said, people die there every day. Like people not dead at Cherry Garden and Half a Tree and them thing that too.
The other thing that you want to think is to pay attention to is the themes. The years may be different, but it's the same theme that is coming through from the 1970s.
Yes, Rascal is discrimination.
The discrimination against people of a certain color, complexion, a certain social, you basically, by virtue of them address, you posit them in a little category.
And it is such a European myopic thing, seriously.
And and it is what, again, just make Jamaican reggae music in particular so potent, because it speaks to these ills where others in the society, the media, the other elements of media are not paying attention to. Now, Queen Africa, her song, it's a very painful song. In fact, it's interesting. You play that song, Garth, because I was having a conversation with her just before we started the show. And we're looking to bring her on the show live, in the very, very near future, so that we can have her tell her own story. Incest is a major, major problem across the world, and Jamaica is no different.
No, it isn't.
You imagine that the people you have around you who's supposed to be protecting you, they are your biggest threat to your own security.
And it's not just where females are concerned, because most of us men, our first experience with a woman was with somebody older than ourselves. I mean, I hold up my mouth and talk.
The point, though, is we have a problem, and that, it's a problem that has strafed us for the longest while. And, when one of our female entertainers is putting that in song, I think when we hear a man talk about, other aspects of the negative aspects of our existence is one thing, but when the woman and them attach this kind of emotion and you can't get more emotive than Queen Ifrica in this song. I cannot wait to get her on the program.
Yeah, man. Loot and Fire.
Thing. Yes.
Save the Juvenile. And he realizes that, there's also another song that's coming up that Tarrus Riley did called Children of Prewee. And you realize that our programming, our experience is based on our environment, what we learn, what we pick up from our adults. And, most of the times when big people come together, Mikie Bennett, welcome.
Them squeegee come in the studio, away by the quiet.
Yeah, man.
Mikie, look how you get a haircut, man. What's going on? Eh?
And frozen solid.
Yeah, look like him frozen solid.
You know, a movie. Yeah, so, as little kids, we would be told, no go on a room or no go outside, go play. Because there was big people conversation being had. Last night, again, I had the unfortunate experience to see at 11:30, in the middle of my set, playing at this birthday party, this young lady walked in with her 6 or 7-year-old son. And I'm like, look on the time, 11:30. Then the next thing I think about is not the kind of music I was playing, but the decibels. In ears not finished farm yet. But, we're coming up on a break.
We're on the break.
Let's take the break, and then we'll come right back, and we can also hear Mikie's. 'Cause I think he was probably listening to those 3 songs. So see what he's taken, and then, we have a couple more songs to go through before we get up to 2020.
Why God, lick
shot hard.
And the little bean sprout, they're going to come up with them here. I'm going to take it. The Rasta, come back, Mikey.
But
About dangerous. Eh?
Years from now, when the history of the music is being written, we're going to have a thing. Then there was Vibes Cartel, and then there was Chronics. That the same song, Start a Fire, was the song that introduced me personally to him. So one of the beauties, one of the great things about my life is the front row seat I have to the young people. I'm at the studio one day, and the student was walking and I said, Uncle, I want to get this CD. Please listen to it for me. And I was I get out a CD. So I was driving home, put in the CD, and reach up Mountain View and turn back and said, no, sir. I wonder if it's just in my car. The car is so nice. I went back to the studio, and a couple of people were there, and I stopped the session and I put in the thing and said, listen, this youth here. It turned out I was the only one who didn't know who he was. I was playing 4 or 5 songs. And I'm saying, I never know a youth like this in Jamaica. in Garth, And it started a really, really cool relationship between me and him. Come check me and I introduce him to some other people and this and that. Then I started to rehearse at the studio, and when I'm in the studio and I heard the rehearsal and I go in and I said to the youth them, listen, I asked him, go sit down outside there for me. And I go in and said to him, I don't understand who I have here. I couldn't have not listen to these songs and playing them. But let me tell you something. This I'm not gonna remember me for this moment here. When I need to go listen to the songs, I hear me here shouting, and I need to hear how these voices have to be treated. They was a little upset because I made us walk in and stop the rehearsal. But a couple of days after that, them came back to me. Young man, I said, boy, Uncle, understand this and I appreciate it. All of us was playing and everybody wanted to shine time, but we were not focusing on what he was saying and how he was saying it and how he needed to be projected. I said that is exactly what bands do. If you ever work with Dean Fraser band for one day, you don't want no more. I'm just saying all of this. And he was just the perfect person with the perfect message, the perfect attitude at the time when he came. And with the success of the reggae revival was the majority to him. The fact that him came out and him was not just a youth that was being played uptown, him was being played in the dance.
Everywhere.
And, both him was that thing and him holding him own and thing. And here was a youth that was just not saying the regular cliches, but you could hear research, you could hear a vocabulary, you can hear a youth that was searching for himself, searching how to express himself. Of course, like most youth, you make some blunders and you say things that you probably wish you never said. But he was mature enough to come back and say, listen, Jamaica, I probably never get it right, but you know what I mean, XYZ. And like I said, I don't, one of the things that I don't want to compare nobody. But Chronix is exactly what Jamaica needed at that point for reggae. Vybz Kartel.
Summertime.
Yeah, Vybz Kartel is just this brilliant, this genius who saw a system in Jamaica and chose to say, okay, and in turn the whole media back on itself. In other words, things that media used to ask people to do. He was asking media to do the same thing. And he just had the place in control. Unfortunately, things got away. I mean, and he's been convicted of a crime.
Absolute power corrupts, absolutely.
But his genius can never be denied. I mean, with a hope, still hope that one day this genius can be turned to something a little more
positive,
constructive, or educational. And I'm sure him did. Tell me one day that, you know, I mean, there was a time when him didn't have the punchline thing, and him had this conversation for a long time. And at which point he hadn't started to do the gunman song, and he said, boy, them don't want me to start them gun song because them can't do it like me, which is true. So unfortunately, life led him down that path, and for what it is worth, but when we write in history of reggae, we have Vybz Kartel chapter. It's been a long chapter, and I think we have a serious
extra long chapter
of Chronix and the effects that he's going to have. In other words, it was still cool to the reggae. It was still cool to the reggae. It was still potent. It was okay to sound intelligent. It was okay to sound like you had read some history book. It was okay to say that there's this philosophical Rastafarian that I've become a part of. But I've not settled for all of the old, you know, the jargon and the stuff. I've done my research, and this is how I interpret Haile Selassie, and this is how I interpret Rasta. This is how I interpret the world. And I mean, like I said, all of us not gonna agree. I'm not gonna agree with everything him say or how him say it, but I celebrate the fact that him have the talent to do it, and him found a little space in the whole, you know, the Jamaican and the diaspora situation and the world situation, and he's to give him genius a chance to shine.
You know,
yeah, man.
You know what I love about Chronix? His juxtaposition with Protege, and the fact that Chronix tour with Coffee and Protege tour with Lila Ike. You know, it's amazing to see those relationships.
What are you saying without saying it?
Yeah. No,
if I may. What are you trying to say? Mikey.
The goat wants to talk.
if I may, yeah, the goat is right. Great is I want to go back to the point you make about the story, Vybz Kartel, Chronix, because it's a seminal point, especially when we look at the history of the music. And the history is being written now. We are part of, you know, we are one of those scribes writing that history. I know Vybz Kartel in the early days, like yourself, right? Music he was putting out then, before he started to go down the Gunman track. And when he started to run the Gunman music, that's when I kind of backed off listening to him. So a lot of what transpired after that, I kind of deliberately stepped up. But I have a very good friend who's a cardiologist, lives in Pennsylvania. And, you know, went to school together. And this guy, he is an avid Kartel fan. Him say, Richard, ease off your bias. Him say, we share the same things about the violence and stuff, but just put it one side for a bit and just listen to how this guy put these lyrics together. So forget about everything else. And then you will be able to appreciate the greatness of Kartel. That kind of blew me away, because here's a man, this is my bona fide personal brethren, you know, but I never knew that side of him. That, you know, that he had this kind of appreciation for the music, and especially for something that cause, you know, the gun thing, and I live and work in Jamaica, and carried a gun for most of the time as an adult, and then I realized how much I hated the damn thing. So the gun thing It was a negative for me. And the way how we took the gun lyrics, it was a massive turnoff.
Shine
but
up
then,
all of the gun
if
then.
you stop for a moment and just listen to the placement of the lyrics, the applicability, it was him, is a story that we see every day within certain communities, and he was putting it out there. And it changed my mind. To your point.
2013, a little man named Jabooks came on the scene and produced this song. Jabooks, Angola. But I think one of the things that made this song work, personally, was him using Africa almost as a first-person perspective. You know, he basically approached the song from someone who was using the name Angola.
It is quite. The Angola song is a, I mean, like I said, I was referring to the Angola.
Yeah, but
yeah. So using, basically what I was saying, Angola, using that, the name of a country. And Richie, you know the thing with Angola already, Entebbe Affair and all of those things. But what he did in this song
popular liberation of Africa
was talking from the first person perspective as an African.
I didn't know what exactly the statement mean, because those of us who follow in modern history and follow the whole thing realize how what that statement's really not saying. Who can take Mama African? I mean, we are given African. Anyway, we don't want to get into that. But that's a very big, powerful song. And you see, if it can, songs that kind of cause certain conversations to happen are very crucial in the mix. Because, like I said, the whole Babylon thing need to be spoken about. It's a long time we are talking about Babylon. So did Babylon get a beating? Or has Babylon won? What is that? I mean, Link, you're a historian. Tell me about what is the status of Babylon.
No, but from a as a subject standpoint, in respect of the music, I think, and you hit the nail on the head. The discussion, the Babylon average man fight is a continuous thing. The fact is, the Rastaman will say our existence as it stands now, we're in a Babylon, right? And so Babylon represent the governmental, political status control.
Right. Because where it's coming from to Richie is Babylon is in the system of things, grand scheme of things, you have protagonists and you have antagonists. And so therefore Babylon was a home of the Philistines to a certain extent.
Yep.
So they were the system of oppression in the Bible. And that is where that clothing is coming from.
But the Rastaman them and the musician have basically looked at them existence in a Jamaica in terms of...
because the Israelites talk about by the rivers of Babylon.
Yeah, but the oppression, that the system, the police is the agent of the state, and by extension, the police is the demarcation of Babylon. In terms of
yeah, is that from the 70s we have heard about the war on Babylon, and people have actually suggested that Babylon is on the run. We have heard that. Babylon under fire, Babylon under pressure. We have beat down Babylon. What is the status of that war?
The war is ongoing. The war is ongoing.
So Babylon seems to be winning.
The war is ongoing.
Yeah.
And Babylon seems to be winning.
Well, listen, at different stages, different aspects of the protagonist and antagonist is winning. You remember, there is a war. You may win some battles, but the war continues. So it is a give-take situation. In some instances, the man on the street find a little territory that him can control and him win. But in other instances, Babylon score more victories than thing. I hear today one major politician talk about a revitalization of the youth them and trying to get the youth them to focus more. A re-energization of Jamaican youngsters to sort of push the youth them to look at the country 5-10 years down the road. And so the struggle continues. Where the term aluta continua, the struggle continues.
And the struggle continues in 2014 with this song by Protege and Chronics.
Hi there. If you enjoyed that clip, go on over to our website at yawdmedia.com, where you can watch the entire broadcast at your leisure. And while you're there, why don't you check out our other reggae music features? And before you leave, pick up some of our Jamaican reggae merchandise, and hey, don't forget to tell your friends.